how do you make sense of it all? How do you choose who to be when every version of you and every experience that you have feels equally vivid and intense and consuming? Hello, friends, fans, fam, and foes. Tobi and AJ here, back at it again with another journal entry to scrutinize and dissect.
And if you want to follow along, you can do so at my Substack at letterstothemesh.substack.com.
Grab yourself a coffee and let's get into this week's. We are talking a little bit about synesthesia of sorts. This is an entry from February 7th, 2019, and I titled it The Color of Memory. I just feel like writing. That feeling like something is missing is looming, but it's a little different than it has been lately. This time it feels like wanderlust, wishfulness. This one was inspired by Pinterest. Lately I've been observing the energy around my thoughts and memories, the colors and light that invade the frame. It's incredibly hard to describe, like when you have a dream and it all makes sense as it's happening and you can see it in your memory, but as soon as you attempt to describe it to someone, it falls apart. I'll try though. The color around this energy is golden. It's filled with sunlight and vibrancy. It almost feels like afternoons, but in a positive way. I typically hate afternoons. It's an interesting correlation because it feels as though thoughts of past afternoons have that dark gray energy that I don't like, and future afternoons are surrounded in this golden light energy. I suppose that makes sense though. Toxic nostalgia versus hopeful anticipation. In some ways, this energy feels similar to Mania. It feels like those summer days where I'm biking and feeling like not an ounce of negative energy can touch me, and I'm full of hope, determination, and creative energy. It feels like relentless positivity and friendliness. As I write this, I realize the Adderall is probably kicking in, but it feels good, so I'll just embrace it. I made this decision, I have this prescription, I might as well enjoy it and utilize it. I just see so much for myself. In the moment, there is a deep sense of longing. That sensation of something is missing feels less like the usual something is wrong, and more like I'm so close to what I want to be, but I'm not there yet. It feels like I know what I want to do and who I want to be, but I'm not doing it. It feels like I'm spending my energy in the wrong places. It feels like I should be holing up in my room with the windows open, just painting for hours, big, beautiful strokes. It feels like large canvases filled with images birthed from my gorgeously intricate mind. In some ways, it feels like writing. It feels like meticulous articulation and poetry. It feels like sharing all of this with the world. Not for money, not as a career, but for the sake of contributing to the ever-necessary culture that is art, love, movement, and creation. A friend told me she gets up early and writes 3 pages every day. I need something like that in my life again. Whether it be writing, drawing, painting, sculpting, maybe even making music. A minimum of 30 minutes of non-work creativity every day. That's completely manageable, and my soul has been deprived of it as of late. The most important thing out of all of this is that I'm doing it for myself. The energy that I describe above is that of confidence and empowerment. It radiates beauty and self-love. That's what I'm missing. I've been hyper-focused on envy, fear, doubt lately, that it's eating me from the inside. That needs to change, and it's up to me. So it begins now. I'll ask God every day for the space to create, for them to work through my mind, my eyes, my hands, to free me from the darkness. So, there's a lot going through my mind right now. I'm thinking about how Tobi doesn't seem comfortable, and I'm not comfortable because I'm having to prop my legs up to make him comfortable. I'm sorry, but it's way too hot. Too hot. Okay. This entry is about nostalgia. It's like wishful thinking, hopeful thinking. Oh man, my brain is loud. This is not working. What's wrong? Okay. Let's see. So a few things that stick out to me reading this back when I look at it in the context of myself and my story as a whole is that I was recognizing that what usually was a very uncomfortable internal image, or just an image that I didn't particularly like looking at, was feeling a lot more attractive all of a sudden. Not that it was sudden, but I just was noticing, because as a kid, or rather as an adult, I have come to recognize that I really have this strong distaste for afternoon light. And my theory is that it has to do with like feeling stuck on like the playground after school when I was a kid or something, you know, like I want to go home, but I'm still at school and this is wrong. Kind of like, it's like a feeling of I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Like that kind of feeling. The word vacancy is coming to mind, but it's like a kind of a stuck, or it like elicits a feeling of like it wants to like pull me back or like hang on to me, and I'm just like, yep, don't want to, nope. I guess I didn't notice it as much when I was working in an office every day, because you're in like a building and you're not like looking outside the window in the same way that I do from my office right here, my home office. And yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like I look outside, and if I see the shadows at a certain angle, it elicits what I want to say is an image, but it's more of it's like a color, a texture, a feeling. And this is something, you know, in the conversation of synesthesia, where I didn't really recognize myself or my brain as operating like I didn't feel like I could categorize myself. I've always been so fascinated and excited when I meet people with synesthesia, and everyone I've known, you know, when I ask them about what their experience is, it's sort of been consistent with what you read online, which is like, or you know, what the definition, the basic definition is, which is associating colors with things like numbers or letters or words or smells or whatever. So it's like but it tends to have to do with, you know, seeing colors when you taste something or smell something or hear something. And like I've known people who, when they hear people's names, have a certain color. And so I've heard of that. I've known people who are musicians and who play based on what they see in their mind's eye. Same goes with taste. And for me, I have like definitely an extremely visual memory in terms of like my scent memory. If a smell reminds me of a place or something, like I'll see that place very distinctly. But there's this interesting correlation with me seeing stuff that elicits like this, like, it's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's an internal visual, but it's like a lot of things at once and nothing really tangible at the same time. Trying to describe it is so hard. Like, I mean, if you go on like a synesthesia Reddit thread or just any friggin' website, like you'll find accounts of people trying to describe it, but it's like I say in here, it's like trying to describe a dream, and it just falls apart as soon as you try to bring it into this realm. But I was trying to here, and you know, I was going from, or I was recognizing that rather than feeling like my usual, which was like behind and depressed. But like, you know, like I'm doing something wrong and like I'm missing the mark in some way or falling short in some way of someone's expectations or my own expectations, or just dropping the ball. Like I have felt for so long like I am just putting 100% of me into just keeping up with the minimum of what I want and need to do. And for so long, it felt like every single day, you know, one step forward, two steps, not one step forward, two steps back, but it's like if I have 3 steps on the list and I only take 1 step every day, but every day adds another step, it's just, I'm always gonna be trying to finish all 3 steps and I'm never gonna get there because I'm only capable of 2, but a new one is tacked on every day. And at the time, I mean, 2019, this is 6 years ago, I was very far from where I am now in understanding myself and just life experience in general. I mean, COVID hadn't happened. But, you know, this was like a few jobs ago. This is 2 living places ago. Anyway, I just was, I think, recognizing that I was going from this usual stuck and behind, never gonna catch up no matter how hard I try, so why even try? But I feel like trying is the only thing that gives my life and who I am meaning. Like trying, what I'm doing here, frankly, doesn't make a lot of sense on paper, but it has resulted, or it stemmed from a lot of exploration, and I don't want to say trial and error necessarily. It's just a lot of thought and rationalize. What? Okay. So I was trying to say, or I was trying to articulate basically that I was feeling a new sense of hope that I hadn't felt in a long time. And I say here in the last bit that the golden energy that I describe above is that of confidence and empowerment. It radiates beauty and self-love. That's what I'm missing. And I say I've been hyper-focused on fear, envy, and doubt lately, and that it's eating me from the inside. That needs to change, and it's up to me. So it begins now. Yeah, so I think what this entry is me attempting to reshape my relationship with nostalgia and give it, instead of a color of longing and loss, like that time is over and will never come back, or stuckness, like this thing is over but you're still here. I was recognizing that instead of falling into that, I was actually feeling really optimistic and hopeful for what my potential will allow. I mean, it's a glass half full versus glass half empty. Instead of, oh my God, so much of my life is over, and then getting so in my head with nostalgia that so much of my life or whatever opportunities have passed me by, I was instead like, whoa, I got a lot of room to grow. And hey, I actually am in control of that. And it's just a matter of me stepping into that golden light energy, and out of that dark gray energy. Because usually for me, afternoons feel like the day's almost over and I probably haven't accomplished what I needed to or wanted to by any, like, at close at all. And the panic basically would set in of like, oh my God, the day is practically over and now I'm tired and I still have so much, but I don't want to, and I burn myself out kicking myself all day or trying to get myself to do the thing all day and I still didn't do it. And so what's the point? And God, I failed again. And just instead of, oh no, it's 3 p.m. The day's almost over and I've wasted it. It's like, it's okay. It's just the halfway point, you know? And if I frame it in the context of that school not metaphor, but that school association of like being on the playground after school's out, it's sort of like how, you know, in some ways 3 p.m. is the end of a school day, but it's the start of your evening at home. So do what you can with the time that you have, because your patterns historically don't need to dictate your future. They certainly don't dictate your potential, as long as you practice awareness and accountability, honesty with yourself. I will say though, this recognition, you know, again, I mentioned this is like 6 years ago that I wrote this, and this recognition, this turning point of perspective from, oh no, the past is over, to, oh joy, what do I get to do with the future? There was still a lot of trial and error of actually figuring out what was feeling right for me and in line with, or in alignment with, who I wanted to be, or the version of myself that felt the least friction with my inner narrative as well as the world around me. I was still very far from figuring out who that was. And so I mention here, in some ways this energy feels similar to mania. And then I mentioned that the Adderall is probably kicking in. And so there's probably some euphoria and like, you know, maybe some inflated confidence a little bit from medication. But man, like, isn't that such the catch-22 of ADHD treatment? I mean, any mental health treatment, it's like when you actually feel helped by something, you very closely try to find a way to minimize it or convince yourself you don't actually need it, or convince yourself that it's actually bad for you or whatever. And in a lot of cases it can be, but it also is extremely helpful in a lot of ways. And it's so exhausting to not be able to, when you're unmedicated, like feel your best because you know you're not operating well. And then when you're on medication, to be judging yourself and fear judgment of others, and also to, you know, not trust maybe some of your thoughts or feelings or whatever, because of it potentially being uncommon for you because you've been in the dark for so long with your own way of operating, with your own wiring, that when medication enters your life and you start to feel good or optimistic or hopeful, it's like, oh my God, I'm manic. I must be manic. It's exhausting, man. There's no winning. And so I just have been on this journey, and I'm still on this journey, and I will be on this journey for the rest of my life, to understand, like, okay, if everything is freaking subjective, then what makes the most sense to me, and what causes the least harm to the people around me and the world at large, whatever I have control over, you know? That's my responsibility. And that's where I feel like the concept of the mesh and karma and all that stuff comes into play, is that when I'm making a decision, even if it might not directly impact me or someone in my life negatively, I think of it like putting money into a karmic piggy bank. No. Toss it. No. I was going to say tossing a karmic boomerang. But no, it's like a karmic vending machine. I'm putting money into a karmic vending machine. Or no. What are those called? It's like putting money into an investment account. I don't know. Like, it's something that, like, eventually you get something out of, or, you know, it spits back the other side or whatever. Like, I'm trying to, like, come up with a metaphor to describe this. Like, it's like this is the mesh, okay? Everyone and everything is under this that can make decisions. Okay. I acknowledge this sounds insane. It's all hypothetical, of course. It's all theoretical, of course. But it's a way of, I feel, contributing to a better world is by contributing positive to the mesh so that there's less negative coming down somewhere else or on you at a different time. Now I'm distracted by my toys. Oh, okay, I went on that tangent. It can feel very taxing and confusing when you have such vivid internal imagery that doesn't really have meaning outside of your own mind. And so with my art and my writing, I'm basically just trying to give this thing that takes up so much space in my life, give it meaning, I guess, give it a reason to take up so much space, give it shape, but also maybe it's not even up to me, you know? I feel like there are so many things that we can be in our lives, and there are people who are born knowing what they want to be and they spend their life trying to get there, and there are people who are born knowing what they don't want to be, and then there are people like me who are just taking it all in and then coming to points in life where they have to make a choice of who they are, and then I don't know, I was that person yesterday and I was that person with that person, but I'm this person now and I'm that person with that person, so I don't know. And I want to do this or be this, but this person that I love and trust is telling me that I shouldn't, or that it's not safe, or I want to be with this person, but this person that I love and trust is telling me that I should question it, or it just is like, how do you make sense of it all? How do you choose who to be when every version of you and every experience that you have feels equally vivid and intense and consuming, you know? So eventually I started to wonder, and by eventually I mean this year, if maybe all of this questioning is my thing, is my who I am. And so now I'm just trying to package it into something that is translatable and hopefully relatable. So I think I'm going to end it there. This felt like kind of a mess, but it's consistent with the writing, I suppose. Thank you so much for reading, watching, listening. Thank you for your time, energy, love, support. I'm finding a lot of, I'm experiencing a lot of learning curves in the video process of this all, but I am really enjoying it. So I hope to keep doing this, and subscribe if you care, don't if you don't, do if you don't, like the video, don't dislike it, it's mean, but whatever. I have no control. It's in God's hands, man. Thank you for your time. Mwah.